So, if you have capacity to sing, we will be very pleased. And here are the lyrics. Hare Krishna. Jaya, Jaya, Gorachande, Aratiko Shobha. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Jaya Shivaya Buddha Srimate Bhakti Namaste ask you, we offer humble obeisances. Put your hands together and pray, or you can bow down as we are. And every time after I say ki, we say jai together. So, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtatarashata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtatarashata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nama Acharya Shila Haddastakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jagannath Das Babaji ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Guru.
Okay, we will now be ending the Arti ceremony with Narasimha prayers, so please stay. Namaste Narasimhaya. Shilatanka Nagaraya Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yamikato Narsimha So now we'll be having Bhagavad Gita class here in the temple room, but otherwise there will also be Mahaprasad served just outside in the temple reception. So please feel free. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. class. Follows me? Yes. So, when I go to the water, I get some water version, and then after I cross, and it really is the water.
Hare Krishna. So I had water. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, verse 20, chapter entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. So I'll read the Sanskrit. Aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutascha yastitha aham adischa madhyam cha bhutanam anta evacha. Aham atma gudakesha. So you can all repeat. Sarva bhutascha yastitha aham adischa madhyam cha bhutanam anta evacha. And anyone else wants to repeat? Aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutascha yastitha annadischa madam cha bhutanam anta evacha. Aham atma gudakesha sarva bhutascha yastitha. Okay, so the word for word. Aham, I. Atma, the soul. Gudakesha, O Arjuna. Sarvabhuta, of all living entities. Ashayas stitaha, situated within the heart. Aham, I am. Adihi, the origin. Cha, also. Madhyam, middle. Cha, also. Bhutanam, of all living entities. Antaha, end. Eva, certainly. Cha, and. Translation. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as Gudakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests Himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant. Because Arjuna is above such darkness, the Personality of Godhead agrees to describe His various opulences. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnations, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahatattva, the universal elements. The total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahatattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as the Supersoul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of the spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul Krishna enters. As stated in the Subal Upanishad, Prakriti Adi Sarva Bhuta Antarayami Sarva Sheshi Cha Narayanaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as the Super Soul in all manifested universes. The three Purusha avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are also described in the Sattvata Tantra, Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purusha Akhyani Atho Viduhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. In this material manifestation, the Mahavishnu or Karanadakshay Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita. Yaha Karna Narvana Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidram. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestations, and the end of all energy. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Smai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantekam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Be'evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So happy to have made it to this point to share some insight, whatever I've learned from many teachers here around the world. Tried to give back by doing some service on this side of the microphone. Although I'm a criminal, I'm always asleep on the other side of the microphone, but hopefully that won't happen on this side, so let's stay awake. Guda Kesha. This is the topic we'll speak about a little bit more, as well as the other points mentioned in the purport. So this chapter, chapter 10, is the opulences of the Absolute. Krishna, as we know, is limitless in his opulences. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. There's so many opulences, but he decides to just point out a few of them. And even these opulences, they're comparisons of what we can understand or comprehend, because truly we're actually unable to comprehend. And the reason being is that Prabhupada outlines in the purport that we are not Gudakesha, because Arjuna has this quality, this name, but we're quite the opposite. And it's evident from even the prayers of the acharyas. We can hear from Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, that we need some awakening. Wake up, spirit soul, wake up, spirit soul. This is Lord Chaitanya's movement. Chant, participate in the movement. So it's quite the opposite. And one may also consider or think that, wait, if Arjuna is described as Gudakesha, then how is he put into illusion during the Bhagavad Gita? Because he is acting like, oh, I don't quite know Krishna, can you actually enlighten me? But again, we know from Prabhupada, the acharyas, and some better understanding that actually this is the Leela, this is how it plays out, so that we're able to understand. Arjuna even plays that role that form of the yoga maya, I believe it's yoga maya from what I remember, but that type of casting of a shadow just to play out the pastime and for us to actually learn from it. So like this is what is going on. So Prabhupada also talks about Krishna is described as the super soul because he says it in this verse. We also hear it later on in the 15th chapter, 15th verse, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivisto, and that he is the source of knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. Smritir jnanam apohanam cha, like that. So what we hear is from Prabhupada, we actually get a good understanding of how Mahavishnu, in the kind of three expansions or three types of Purusha avatar that are there, and then also there is a stage at which Mahavishnu manifests as the super soul. So the super soul in every living entity as well. So we can get that understanding from the purport, as Prabhupada outlines, and he gives some evidence by quoting the Brahma Samhita, like that. So we have a very nice explanation in the purport, as we do in most purports. Prabhupada expands. I recall this, last week in Bhakti Shastri, we were talking about this very passage of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, towards the end, when Krishna is outlining all his opulences, and we were looking at all the different verses, and Prabhupada expands nicely that we may not understand, like why does Krishna say he compares himself to Meru, Mount Meru, and then he compares himself to out the mountains Himalayas, and then one may consider that, wait, you've got both there, but then he actually distinguishes and gives us some insight that actually one is movable and the other one is immovable. So like that, that's why there's those two mentioned. So this is what Prabhupada is doing when he's expanding in his purports in chapter 10. So let's look at the term Gudakesha in a bit more depth and a bit more detail. So if Arjuna, so Prabhupada says, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep, what does that mean Arjuna is? He's Gudakesh, but what does that mean? Like, so he's not sleeping, what is he? He's not in the mode of ignorance, yes, so he's beyond the modes of material nature. He's what is he? If he's not asleep, he's there? He's awakened, right? He's awakened, exactly. So I had to do a bit of research. Fortunately, I don't know enough about the modern day trends, but I hear this word woke a lot. Do you hear that word, woke? Yeah? So I thought, okay, what's the best way to find out information? You Google it, and not the most authentic source, but Wikipedia can sometimes provide you some insight into some of these things. So let's have a look what woke means. Anyone want to have a guess? What does woke mean? Okay, those are awakened. What about like the modern day interpretation? When we hear it on the news, we hear it in media. Liberal mindset. Okay, good. Yeah. So I'll read it from here. So apparently it's an adjective. It's somewhat of a slang. Having or marked by an active awareness of systematic injustices or prejudices, especially those related to civil and human rights. And then one like overall definition, aware of and actively attentive to important facts and issues, especially of racial and social justice. So you can understand that this is where the world is about being woke. It's not to spirituality, like, oh my God, there's a spirit soul there. We're still identifying with the body, isn't it? Because it says racial and social justice. So people are now speaking up or, standing up. Arjuna was standing up, right? He was a warrior. And we're becoming little mini warriors, but we're doing it slightly for the wrong reason, because it's to do with race, it's to do with social injustice like this. So the real meaning of woke within Krishna consciousness is that one is actually awake to their spiritual identity, that they understand that everyone is spirit soul, that we're not this body. And when that happens, then everyone's important. I'll just give an example. I'm aware of the kind of terms and conditions when giving class. Don't talk too politically and all these things. I agree as well. We want to stay out of that. But I just had an observation, and it was fairly interesting that what's going on in the current world. There's not much peace. There's a lot of aggression going on, but there's certain people that didn't want to, kind of take a stand. They didn't want to, either kind of put on a certain T-shirt, etc. And the reason being was that actually in my country, there's also war, and there's been war for many, many years, and no one does anything about that. So where's my justice for my country, etc.? Make sense? So now that everyone is, we should, stand up, we should do something, what's this injustice? But my country, been going on for many years and no one does anything. So like this, there's actually discrimination a lot of the times. I don't discourage or discredit that people should be doing that. They should always be putting awareness for so many different causes. They should still continue. That's good. But there's also some interesting insight which actually lets us think more about spirituality, that we're actually not even this body, that we're spirit, soul, and everyone is important. Like that. So this is the main kind of takeaway, and it's interesting. We're trying to live in a society where we can live in harmony, that if someone doesn't take a stand to something, that's also considered okay. But it's very difficult, because if everyone else is doing it, hey, why are you not doing that? Don't you care about the world? Don't you care about injustice? Don't you care about, war and all these things? But someone may have a different opinion. What to do? Like that. So where we take our solace is from the Bhagavad Gita. We take it from the Bhagavad Gita because we can actually rise above and see an overall picture of the world. And it's quite interesting in my observation and understanding that I've heard so many things about Kali Yuga. When you come into Krishna consciousness, it's like, Prabhu, this world's so dark, it's like so terrible. And then, I don't know, I used to go home to visit, when I was staying in the ashram for a little bit. And then I'd go home and I was like, oh, my parents got a nice new TV. That's really nice. Like, why did they say that it's a dark, gloomy world? This is a nice, bright world here. I can watch HD. I can watch 3D now. It's amazing. I don't know where the Krishna consciousness is coming from, that this Kali Yuga is so bad. I'm living like with a dinosaur in my room and I think it's real. But what are we talking about in Kali Yuga? We're saying that actually you're under illusion, my friend. You think this will save you, that will save you. You're kind of pacified in front of a TV box that gets thinner and thinner and thinner while the people get fatter and fatter and fatter. But actually, we're in illusion of these things. Because when it comes to the ultimate test, what's the ultimate test? Whether you can pay your bills on time, whether the energy prices are going up and you're still going to be able to pay? No. There's two things that are sure in this world. I've heard this quote: taxes and death. I hope I got that quote right, but from what I remember. Exactly. So taxes and death, and it's as sure as death. Prabhupada, I think, would say that kind of comment, or I've heard that from other speakers, that as sure as death, one can be as sure as death. And for that, none of these things will take to the world. It's all kind of a dream. It will be so insignificant. But the important thing is, of course, it's not to dismiss what's happening right now, what we're hearing, what we should be concerned about. We should have that concern, but how to address that concern, that can be very different through the eyes of the Bhagavad Gita, because it speaks about how to actually see this world. And what does it describe? Dukhalayama shashvatam. It's a place of misery. You're looking for happiness, very wrong place to look for happiness. Very temporary. You achieve happiness, it's not long-lasting. Or we strive for it and we don't get it. So like that, it always evades us. So how does one stay woke? How does one get beyond ignorance? Very difficult, right? One of the kind of comments that comes up in in a class about being a pure devotee. Prabhu, we can all be pure devotees. You can be a pure devotee right there, and the speaker points at you. It's like, oh, well, me? I can be a pure devotee? And then the question and answers come, and the comment is, Prabhu, it's Kali Yuga, though. And it's like, oh, okay, then we'll let you off. Then you don't need to be a pure devotee. No, you do. You still need to be a pure devotee. It's like, hey, how are you going to be a pure devotee when this age, it's so fallen, we're all, fallen, there's so much misery, you're going against the grain. You're going against the wave. Yes, Prabhupada often commented like that. Yes, you are. You're declaring a war on Maya by becoming a devotee. You're actually going against, the force. And what's that force? Devyesha gunamai mamamaya duratya. It's the three modes of material nature. It will take us. If not now, then later. What do I mean by that? We make progress. We make advancement. Okay, we make advancement. We come to the temple a little bit more. We start staying in the temple. We start donating to the temple. We start doing all these different activities connected to Krishna consciousness. But actually, it's still on the external platform. It's just externally we're doing these things. But internally, there's little weeds growing. And what are those weeds described as? We're getting a little bit more advanced, good. But there's certain weeds, even though you're doing the right activities. Anarthas, what type of anarthas are we talking about? What happens? Pride, right? Pride cometh before the fall. Just before we're about to fall, there's pride. There's some element of pride. And like that, our journey towards transcendental, pure devotional service then takes a bit of a stumbling block. There's a bit of a block, and that's because we may even come to the mode of goodness. Maybe not for long, maybe only a tinge of it, but again, we'll just fall back down into passion and ignorance. And why is that? Because of pride and because of so many other anarthas. We've got a whole cluster, we've got a whole, patch, like a vegetable patch, people have. It's like, hey, here's my anarthas. You can see a bit of lust, got a little bit of anger there, growing a bit of greed at the back. That's all going on. It's all going on. And it's only a matter of time that these things manifest if we don't work on them to uproot them. That's what we need to do. And how do we uproot them? Chanting. It's thrown around statistics in Krishna consciousness, 99%. Let's just say 90 to 99% of your advancement is dependent on your chanting. Whatever the figure is. But we know it's really important. Again, we have the evidence from the Bhagavatam. In this age of Kali Yuga, ocean of faults, there's only one good Eka Mahad Gunan, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet, that the only one quality in this ocean of suffering and misery, and so many terrible things are there, and the Bhagavatam talks about all the terrible things in great length, and then says, oh, okay, wait, don't worry, there's one thing you can do, and it says, just chant the holy name. If you just do that, then you're all right. Isn't it? It's actually a good sales pitch. Like, I don't know, like I had a person look at my security alarm and he said, oh, this is very old. So, oh no, it's old? So yeah, there's a lot of crime in your area. So, oh, there's a lot of crime in my area? And he says all these negative things. It's like, oh, okay, oh. And then suddenly he says, but there's one thing. It's like, oh, what's the one thing? If you pay me £300, I can give you the best, CCTV and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, fine. Like I felt he was like my savior. But because of that pitch, that, oh, all these negative things, and there's like one positive thing that gets rid of all the negative things, just do this, just get this, like that. So again, the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, it does it like that to us, right? Like you read through the Bhagavad Gita, you're like, oh, negative, okay, qualities that you shouldn't have. And it's like, oh, wait, some qualities that I should have, qualities that I should have, like that. It's like a roller coaster. The Bhagavatam's like that as well. Like, no, Ajamil, why did you do that? No, Ajamil, don't go to that woman. No, don't do that. Don't live like that. And then suddenly it says, just chant. Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Done. With affection, with some bhava there, like that. So this is the roller coaster we go through when reading the Bhagavatam, when reading the Shastra. It's that we need to know the pavritri, nirvriti, we need to know the positive, the negative, like that, and then to advance. So this is the way in which we will become woke. But again, going back to that point. But it's Kali Yuga, what to do? There's one other thing that we should take note of. So the chanting is definitely there. The Bhagavatam says that as well. But what else does it say? There's one other limb that can save us, push us through. If we can't get those doors open, Krishna's doors open, there's someone that can. Guru or association, like that. So we may not have the qualities. We are Kripa Siddha. We are looking for mercy. We're mercy seekers. Sadhana siddha is there, one who, by their own practice, creates something or is able to transcend. But actually, we need the mercy. We're mercy seekers. We're mercy cases by nature. So, like that, we need the mercy. And even if we can't do it ourselves, we have someone who can help us, and we can also take great solace from. So obviously the most prominent one is Srila Prabhupada. Like every morning we sing Guru Puja. We center everything around Prabhupada. Like a kirtan is incomplete until you hear Jai Prabhupada. Like, where did I hear the holy name? Yes, it was from Prabhupada actually, like that. So we're constantly being reminded of a pure devotee. By his mercy, we have all these ISKCON centers. You try and, I've heard of people's experiences, but when people try and get away from Krishna consciousness, an easy way is to go to another country. Like, oh, okay, I'll just jet off to, another destination, and let me just see what non-devotee life is like. But then one time I heard a story from one particular person, and they were like, I went to Spain, and I heard they have nice nightlife and stuff. But then I saw ISKCON temple, and I was like, oh no, Haribol, the devotees are there, they're chanting on the streets. And then, the awkward moment when you're just nodding your head and all your friends are like, well, why are you nodding your head? Do you know that mantra? You familiar with that tune? It's like, yes. So like that. It's very difficult to avoid. And it's Krishna consciousness is the best party that you can be in. If you think you're missing out, you're definitely not. It's an enlivening experience. And coming back to the point of association, this is mentioned again, time and time again. It's in the Bhagavatam, many of the episodes we can understand of why association is so important. Like one of the stories is about Sarabhi Muni. And you know his story? So he's meditating somewhere. He's meditating at the bottom of the ocean. He's meditating, and he opened his eyes. Or he got distracted. Let's say. And then he could see 2 fish copulating, and he's like, oh, what? Disturbed. His meditation broke. Just after that, there's so many things that he kind of transcended, and maybe other obstacles and so on, and he was just peaceful. And then just that, right? He broke his meditation. And it's described that the reason being, or one of the principles there, is of association. Without association, we cannot do it by ourselves. It's not going to happen. But just by association of a pure devotee, the devotee is there to encourage us, to inspire us. Like that, there's the one thing that's lacking in the world, and that's encouragement. We're very quick to put people down. Because we put ourselves down, right? You've got the whole concept of low self-esteem, all these different things in the material world. But we're also out for others as well. Because if I feel bad about myself, I need to make you feel bad about yourself. Because otherwise, at least I feel a winner when I do that. So like that, we're continuously, it's a negative spiral like that. Let's see. Okay. I was just meditating on why did I'll be honest here as well. Yesterday I was driving in my car, and then I had a realization after work, and I was like, oh wait, was I meant to be in Bhagavad Gita class today? I think it's the class day. Oh, I said I would give class today. And I checked my phone, I was like, oh, Haribol, it's tomorrow. And then I was thinking, why today? Why is today? Because I'm a bit picky. I don't pick on the verse so much. I was thinking there's something about this day, and then I remembered, and it just occurred to me now that it's Gaurkishore Das Babaji's disappearance day, isn't it? Oh, sorry, Jagannath Das Babaji? Oh wow, I see, I even get the saints right. See, as Krishna says, he is the source of forgetfulness as well, so we also forget like that. But yes, the acharyas, and particularly the disappearance days. And I was also meditating. Yesterday I saw a devotee, and he had some objects of possessions of a devotee who passed, last year, Jankinath Prabhu. And I was thinking, wow, it's been some time. But what happens that when a devotee passes, it's of course like a celebration that they're actually, going home to Krishna, or they're, transcending like that. We like to say in a better place, for better words. And of course, actually right now, there's a few devotees who have gone to scatter the ashes in the Ganga, in Mayapur, so like that, some auspicious kind of offering. That's there. And I think, for many of us and those that have associated with a devotee, even just like Janakinath Prabhu, we could understand that we may not have been so serious in Krishna consciousness, but when associating with a devotee like that who has enthusiasm, it's contagious. People say it's contagious. And I remember even in his days when it was very difficult with cancer, he'd still be so enthusiastic, like that. So like this, we should actually remember these things. We should keep these in the mind and we should always think about them. And then you may think, wait, Prabhu, that's a bit negative. Thinking about a devotee who's, passed on, etc., it can be quite negative. What if we don't live right now? But as Chanakya Pandit says, he says there's 3 times that you should keep your state of mind. There's 3 times. These 3 occurrences that you should retain the state of mind because it would lead to liberation. Do you know what those 3s are? What's the 3? So the first one is death, when you're at a crematorium. Why is that? Because when you're at a crematorium, your state of mind is grave, very thoughtful. Your life flashes before your eyes. Oh wow, what am I doing? This person's here, they live their life and now it's come to, what should I be doing? I should be doing things that are actually meaningful. I should make a difference. This person lived, a fruitful life, and obviously in the case of Janakinath Prabhu, using, mind, body, soul, everything in Krishna's service. I should be inspired. I should take that. Let me do that. That's what happens when you're at a crematorium. The state of mind is very grave and very thoughtful, and you want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Generally speaking, that's the gravity is there. But what happens? You leave that place. You go home. You take the shower as the ritual goes. You go to sleep. You forget. You live your life like that. And then that's it. And then we have to wait till the next time, the next opportunity. But why wait? We should meditate on those things to actually keep us fixed, to understand time is very short and we need to utilize everything that we have in Krishna consciousness to make advancement. Second place, illness. Do you guys remember when you were last ill, like fairly, quite badly? Yeah? Some suffering, you've got your hand in the bead bag, but you're still lying down, and then we're thinking, oh, it's all right, Prabhu, I'm sick, probably, the saying goes, health sadhana service, it's okay, I need to take it easy. But like this, when there's ill health, then again, one has gravity, one can think, wait, when I was in a healthy state of, mind, when my body was better, then I was just doing all sorts of things. I was being quite harsh to devotees, and I wasn't chanting my rounds properly. Oh, if I get good health, I promise I'll do better. Krishna, please give me the energy so I can serve you again, etc. like that. And all that happens, and the prayers get answered. You get a lot better. You actually feel great. You feel ecstatic the next day, but then the habits continue. That you're the first one out of class because the halva is going to get finished on a Saturday, like that. So the mind is still going back to old habits, going back to old ways. We think we can, shortcut these things, but we have to actually stay in those states of mind to make advancement. And the last one, so we've had at a crematorium, yeah, Prabhu? Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's good. Yeah, that's important actually. Like one actually retains a lot of knowledge if that happens. So when one is in the womb, but in terms of the day-to-day, yeah, in class. So again, if we had the Chanakya Niti book, there might be asterisks nowadays just saying, unfortunately, Kali Yuga is getting worse and worse. But the third one is that when one is in class, when one is in a spiritual discourse, then if one retains the state of mind when one is hearing Krishna Katha, when one is hearing from actually a qualified speaker, not like me, but someone who's actually got some Shakti, some potency, really speaking, Krishna is speaking through them, then if we remember that state of, we hold that state of mind, then one can actually make, again, a lot of advancement. One can transcend. One can go beyond. But again, what happens? What's the issue that happens? We leave class. We have breakfast. We want to lie down on a bed. Then we continue. Then we know we got service. And then the cycle continues. And then you hear Bhagavatam class the next day. And then you're inspired. Yes, Prabhu, you said surrender to Krishna. Give everything that you have to Krishna, like that. But again, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and we're limping in spiritual life, and hopefully we're going to make it through. But like that, the principle there, that principle from Chanakya Pandit, is that we do want to retain the state of mind. We want to retain the state of consciousness. We don't want to be kind of showers, you know? We're not doing this for show. And if we are doing it for show, who are we showing? Krishna, right? Yeah, at least that. Even if you're a show person, fine. But at least you're showing Krishna. You're not showing the next person next to you like that. So this is the consciousness that we want to try and cultivate. And I think, that kind of concludes of how to stay woke in spiritual life. So we've had chanting, right? Reawakening. In this age of Kali Yuga, it's recommended to chant the holy names of the Lord. And the second thing, if anyone complains about chanting, fine, but what's the second thing? Association. But that doesn't mean that we limp through Krishna consciousness again of like, oh, my chanting's a bit bad, but, I hang around with that Prabhu every, weekend, and he gives nice class, and people think I'm his personal servant, so they give me extra prasad. Like, it's not about that. That's not the type of association we want. We want quality association that when we are lacking in our own spiritual practices, we can also consider, like an exercise. Like, if the person that you're most inspired by is in the room, what would you be doing right now? You'd be, awake, alert, like, oh, wow, right? Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu often quotes this kind of scenario. I guess we haven't had it so much in COVID, etc. But just like, your guru is here. And when Guru Maharaj is here, they say, oh, Prabhu, how are you? To any passerby, some average Joe, like, oh, Prabhu, can I do anything for you? Please, Prabhu, let me serve you. And then suddenly Guru Maharaj is gone, and then, oh, Prabhu, what do you want? Prabhu, I'm so busy. Can you not see I'm busy? So like that, isn't it? It's quite a duality in the way that we work. We're so conditioned like that. But what does Krishna want? There's one quality that he really likes. Well, he likes a lot of qualities. Sincerity, simplicity, devotion. And it often comes from this kind of sincerity, humility, simplicity. That there's no pretension, right? There's no pretension. Again, I was thinking that when we were seeing Krishna on the altar, and then I was like, oh yeah, Krishna looks nice. Yeah, I'm seeing Krishna. And then I thought, wait, I'm not seeing Krishna. I have no idea. I think Krishna is just here, and I go home, and then it's like, oh wait, I'll go see Krishna at the manor. He's 20 minutes drive away, and then I see him. But what's the actual situation? Who's seeing who? Who's seeing who? Yes, Krishna is seeing us. The concept of darshan. Darshan. Like Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur brings up this point, the seer and the seen. Who is actually seeing and who's the seen, right? And that pastime of when he's giving a spiritual lecture, a spiritual discourse, and I just said that Chanakya Pandit says that your mind has to be switched on when someone's speaking spirituality. At that moment you can attain liberation if you're listening very attentively and you're keeping that state of mind. But when the person walked past his lecture and looked to take darshan of the deities, what did he say when he was returning back? How was your eye massage? And the guy was thinking, well, okay, what are you talking about? Don't think you can see Krishna through these eyes. That's what Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said. Don't think you can see Krishna through these eyes. How do we see him? Through the ears. We hear about Krishna. We understand. We gain faith. We go through the 9 processes of stages of the devotional service. We make advancement, but it's actually through hearing. To think that we can see Krishna, Haribol. But Krishna looks at us, he can see, wow, this devotee came all the way down to see me. Even if it's not from a random place in London, it's even, oh, this bhakta came to see me, and he only lives upstairs and he still doesn't come see me that often, but he came down. He's amazed, he's so happy, like that. We often think that our kind of Sankirtan leader or whoever the manor leader is, a morning program taking a register, is the guy who sees you. But Krishna is the one who sees us, no? Krishna is the one. He's the best register person, right? He don't miss anyone out. Because he sees, oh wow, And again, he's not harsh. He says, oh, wow, you've turned up. Oh, amazing. Oh, you're singing with sincerity. Oh, that's nice. You're focused on me. Amazing. So like that, Krishna is always encouraging. Krishna is always encouraging, and the devotees are also as encouraging as well. That we should always be in front of Krishna, pray to Krishna, and in that way, Krishna can reveal. Krishna can reveal a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. And that's why this verse in particular, chapter 10, text 20, is the beginning when actually Krishna's outlining, Arjuna, I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you because you're Gudakesh. You're actually woken. You're actually awake. Right? Like that. So I think that's about it in terms of what we can extract from the verse and purport. But if anyone has any thoughts, if I've shaken anyone up from their slumber, I apologize. But yeah, just trying to repeat. And to be honest, I'm always reinforcing in my head. It's not really you guys, it's actually me. So like that. Does anyone have any comments, questions, anything they want to talk about?
Sorry, we are speaking about Buddha Krishna.
But that's like the point I said. That it's all about honesty. If we're honest, we make a lot of progress. If we're deceitful, very, very difficult. Very difficult, like that. Again, I heard this kind of concept from Bhaktivedanta Manor. I think it was basically there are 4 defects of the conditioned soul. What are they? Cheating, yeah. Illusion, mistakes, and imperfect senses. 3 of them are okay, as in they're natural. Like, you're going to make mistakes, right? You've got imperfect senses, you're in illusion, you're going to make mistakes, no doubt. It's going to happen. But there's one that is of choice, to cheat. And when we cheat, when there's deceit within the heart, then what happens? It's a downward spiral. I don't know if anyone's experienced this, but when you've lied, you thought, oh, God, tell that lie, okay. Haribol, now that devotee won't annoy me, like, I explained to them why I didn't turn up for the service or something like that. Haribol, done. But then next time, you have a conversation and the same topic comes up and you say something different. It's like, oh, but I thought you said that. And then you make up another lie. And then another lie. And then it compounds. And then sometimes it's that we've lied in one instance and then we come into a different scenario and you'd think that you'd never do that. Like, I don't know, let's say a spiritual master asks you a question about yourself. You say, oh, no, I never lie. Like, to the spiritual master, to the guru, that is guru aparad. You never lie to the spiritual master. That's terrible. That's abominable. But then because we've created so many habits of this cheating mentality, then we again cheat like that. And who's the one who loses out? Us. Like that. So yeah, I think honesty is such an important quality, and we can make so much advancement. And it's something that lacks in Krishna consciousness amongst devotees is the honesty. We hear, Dadati pratiganati guhuyam akhyati parchati. Like that. That one should reveal one's mind in confidence and hear from others, and etc. And like that. So we need some honesty, we need some transparency, and that's how we make advancement. Sorry, bro, you had a question or comment?
Sorry, thank you for the class, Prabhu. My question is about in terms of taking darshan, how much emphasis should we put on, because like in terms of the process of taking darshan as well as seeing that there's importance given to how we even look at the deity, and to start with the feet, and that we should see it as well as non-different than Krishna as well. So just trying to understand between the hearing and seeing as well.
Yeah, I feel that the process of meditating on the deity, we're trying to meditate, and meditation means putting the mind to good use of, okay, the mind is scattered. We know from Bhagavad Gita again, Chanchalahi Mana Krishna Pramati Balavadridam, that the mind is strong, very obstinate, strong. To control the mind is even harder than to control the wind. So what chance do we have? But then the deity is so merciful that it gives us some attention, a place to put some focus, some emphasis, some attention. Is it the post box? The kind of analogy is given, right, of the Archa Vigraha. So like this, we're able to place our faith, our bhakti, worship like that. And with these eyes, we are trying to, again, purify. And again, what happens? We see an object, it goes through the eyes, and ultimately in the mind, there's some processing, there's something that's going on like that. There is a samskar, an impression. Like if the mind was like Play-Doh, from the kid days we had Play-Doh, it's like putting a thumbprint in. But what does that thumbprint look like? And when it's a devotional one, then it's a positive, like that. We have so many negative ones, but as I think it's Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras concepts there, that when you have a negative samskar, the way to get the negative samskara is to push it with the positive samskar. So that's what we're doing by this Archa Vigraha, by seeing the deity. But the main effect is on the mind. So we are having a process of dhyana or attention. We're actually placing some attention. Okay, Krishna's feet. And what do we remember by that? What often happens is we hear about Krishna, don't we? About what's on Krishna's feet? The tulsi leaves, isn't it? And so like that, so if we're hearing the Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam talks about, say, the episode of the four Kumaras, and how the four Kumaras were up, near the spiritual world, and they're near the doorkeepers, etc. The whole pastime is there. But then what are they swayed by? They can smell the tulsi leaves on the lotus feet of the Lord, like that. So we can meditate on this pastime, and we're looking higher and higher and higher, and there's all these different pieces of knowledge that we have accumulated through hearing that can help us in our Krishna consciousness, to when we see the deity, we remember. Smaranam takes place, like that. So that's what we're trying to do. And I think my main point on that is it's by practice. It's by practice. Because often, I don't know, for what happens with me, I look at the deity, and then suddenly I remember something mundane. I'm like, wait, why am I remembering that? Am I in the temple? Prabhupada describes it as Vaikuntha. How could I be thinking about this and that when I'm in Vaikuntha? Apparently, I'd like to think I am, but I'm the one who's contaminated, who can't, have that consciousness. So, like this, it's a practice that when we come in front of the deity, we are meditating. Oftentimes, we actually get advice from those who are pujaris, who have the fortune, the austerity they've taken to even become brahmanas, etc., like that, and they get to serve the Lord in that way. Many a times they'd advise, let's say, for example, when one has lusty desires, what to do? So difficult. What's some of the solutions that are given? Or what's one of them related to the deity? It's to meditate on the deity. And what in particular? The feet. And there's one other one that I've heard from when I was in India. The eyebrows of Krishna. They're like I think this is the kind of analogy given, but it's like the bows. A bow? And like that. And it's also, I think there's a description, I just can't remember where it's from, but it's described that actually when Cupid comes to run after the yogis to break their trance, the yogis are always trying to meditate, and then Cupid's, somehow coming and finding them and be like, oh, I'm going to shoot you with my arrow, and then, you're mine. But then what do? They take shelter of Krishna. And then when they, take shelter of Krishna, then even Cupid's like, well, Haribol, I'm stunned. I'm the one who stuns people, but I'm stunned by Krishna. So like that, even the great yogis who are trying to, evade Cupid, that don't want to get allured by Cupid, they take shelter of Krishna. So like that, we can even meditate as well. That, oh wow, look at Krishna's nice eyebrows there. Look at his lotus eyes, right? There's certain prayers we can remember. Like one of them is when one takes initiation, when one takes the vows, they recite this mantra. It's from a Vedic text, but Om apavitra pavitro va sarva vastam gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksham sabhaya abhayantara suchihi. What does pundarikaksham mean? Oh, lotus-eyed one. Pundarikaksham. And what happens? So this verse that's described, the Vedic text, it's Om apavitra pavitro va. So pavitra meaning pure. Yeah? Pure. Apavitra meaning impure. So whether one has gone through an impure or a pure life, or all walks of life, whatever one has done, if one remembers the lotus-eyed Krishna, yeah, Sabhaya Bhayantara Suchi. What does Suchi mean? Clean. That if one remembers the lotus-eyed Krishna, then one remains internally and externally clean or pure, like that. So even these Vedic texts indicate that whatever condition, wherever we are, this is what our focus is on. So again, if you're looking at the lotus eyes of the Lord, the deity, so beautiful, and you remember these verses and you're like, wow, Krishna's really got some power here, right? So like that. So these are just some of the thoughts that I have on your particular question or statement. I'm sure there's a lot more to expand on, and maybe you have some more to share that I can learn from as well. So, yeah?
The only thing that I can think as well that is interesting is when you mentioned about meditating and the deity,
Mm.
and it says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who is always meditating on my transcendental form,
Mm.
that we can have the deity is there as well, that we can have that picture of a form of the Lord as well to concentrate on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why the pictures are so powerful. Like, when one's room is decorated with pictures of Krishna, it's like, wow, I'm trying not to think of Krishna, but you can't help yourself because Krishna is everywhere. Like that. So this is what we want to do. We want to spiritualize our atmosphere, have Krishna wherever we can. We can place him on the altar. And we want to acknowledge that he has a transcendental form, but it takes practice, and it's on our part. It's not that he's becoming transcendental slowly. It's that our eyes don't have the purity. What does it say in the Brahma Samhita? Premanjali Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. That actually the eyes anointed with the salve of love, like the anointed with love, like that. So it's like the eye drops. We need those love drops in our eyes, but we can't do it like that. But when you have that, then everything that you see, you can connect back to Krishna. And that's what we're aspiring for. So again, process, practice, takes time. Take association of devotees, it rubs off on you, and then, there we go. So like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Hare Krishna. Okay, I don't know if there's a strict end time, but I think 8:30 will do us well. Yeah, all I'd say, concluding word is try your best and leave Krishna to do, don't leave him to do anything. You do as much hard work as you can. But what's that statement that happens? Act like it's all on you and pray as if it's all on Krishna. So yeah, think about that. Try your best, and Krishna's watching you, and he's laughing like, oh, he's trying his best. He can't even do it. Okay, let me give him some mercy, like that. So again, that's also a nice meditation, that Krishna's always watching us. He's seeing, okay, dude's trying his best. Let's help him out a little bit. But yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.